Hello, so good morning everyone. Welcome back to the class on engineering graphics. So in the last class we had dealt about the concepts of, on the whole, what do we mean by projection of solids, its classifications, dimensional parameters, what we have to consider, and how about you think about selecting the position of the given solid with respect to HP and VP, how the position should be when it is perpendicular to how the position should be when it is resting on one of its side or the corner on HP as well as in VP, how it will be when it is inclined to both the positions, and what are the actual assumptions what we have to follow while solving the problems, right? So we dealt about all the first stage, second stage, and the third stage, how it should be. Initially, in the first stage, the axis will be assumed to be perpendicular. In the second case, the axis will be inclined to HP. And in the third case, the axis will be inclined to VP. When you have the inclinations for the given solid with respect to HP and VP. Usually, you will get the problems based on inclination with respect to HP and VP only. So all the solid problems what you solve will be having three stages. So irrespective of whether you're solving pyramids, prisms, solids of revolution. So accordingly, we have shared the videos also in the YouTube channel. Those who had missed the class that day, kindly go through the video links so that your concepts will be strong enough. I can't keep on explaining the same thing. It's there in the YouTube link. Kindly go through it. And even for problems on square prism, I have uploaded in the YouTube channel already. I have shared the links. I will be explaining you the problem description right now in the today's class. After that, if you haven't gone through the video links, kindly go through the video links, how to solve the problem in the sketchbook. So please see that you complete all the problems while come for the Tuesday class, because Tuesday I'll be showing a demo version how to do the same in our Solid Edge software. For that, you should be having the problem in hand solved in the sketchbook. So see that you complete the problems in the sketchbook before you come for Tuesday class. And hence I have shared the links before only. Okay, I think 2 days before only I have shared the links for the problems on projection of square prisms, how to solve. So all four types I have shared the video links. And in the last class, we have started solving first problem on square prism when the given square prism is resting on one of its edge on HP. How to solve the problem that we have done already. So from the second problem, I'll explain you how to solve the problem. The same thing you have to replicate in the sketchbook. So the same thing you will do it in the Solid Edge on Tuesday. So before that, after your internals, you see that you will install the Solid Edge software in your laptop, your computer, whatever you have. I have shared the link, the setup file for the Solid Edge. I have shared the PPT, which provides you step-by-step procedure to install. Along with that, within the Google Drive, you have a specific folder called as video help file, which tells you step-by-step procedure. So that also you can go through it, okay, and see that you will install the software successfully. I will explain you how to practice on Solid Edge for projection of solids in Tuesday's class. Please repeat the same at your end. Practice, complete the problem. You can take the screenshot of it and upload me later. That I will tell you how, when to do it. So currently we will focus on our second problem related to projection of solids. I will just share you the problem. Right? So this is the second problem. The first problem we have dealt already related to the square prism. So this was a square prism of base 35 mm with an axis of 65 mm, which was resting on one of its edge. So how to solve the problem, I have explained already in the previous class. If someone have missed, I have uploaded the Google Classmeet video link in the Google Classroom. Kindly go through it. and understand the procedure how you do it. For all the problems, the assumption is the same. For first, you will assume the axis to be perpendicular. For the second stage, you take axis inclined to HP with respect to the given question, and for the third, you take the axis inclined to VP. It is if it is a problem on the edge or the side, the true length in the first stage and the true length in the second stage of the top view will remain the same, then we won't determine the apparent angle. If it is a problem based on axis inclined to particular angle to VP, then we have to determine the apparent angle beta. The third case is if the axis is inclined to VP, but if it is told appears to be inclined, in that case we don't determine the apparent angle because it is not directly inclined. It looks as though it appears to be inclined. In that case, no beta angle will be determined. So these are the three categories what you have to understand with respect to solving the problem. Other than that, fixing the first position, also you have two types. Either it could be resting on one of its side or corner. If it is resting on one of its side, I've explained you how the position of the square prism will be with respect to horizontal and VP plane in the last class. And now similarly, we are solving the second problem when it is given the given square prism is resting on one of its corner on HP. If it is side, we have to show the side, not the corner. If it is corner, we have to focus on the corner and not on the side. Okay, so this is the second problem. So what is the question here? So the question in the primer also, it is a second problem. It is a square prism of 35 mm side of base, and so side of the square prism will be 35 mm and the axis height is 60 mm. It is resting on one of its corner of the base. Okay, so how will be the initial position when it is resting on one of its corner? I've explained you in the problem in the video link also, but still I'll show. So if this will be our horizontal plane and the vertical plane, we will be having the square prism. If it is resting on one of its side, you will keep it in a regular square way. If it is resting on one of its corner, you will shift in such a way that the corner will be focused on both the sides, not on the edge, such that when it is resting on one of its corner, the square base side will be making equal inclinations. So when you view from the top, you will be just seeing a square incline in this position. So if we tilt the horizontal position, so this will be the actual square. How does it looks like in the top view? So it will not be a regular square. It will be a rhombus kind of square where you'll be focusing the corners and not the edges. So this will be the top view. So when it is resting on one of its corner, the true shape of the square surface will be visible at the bottom. So similarly, when it is being in this position, when we view from the front, the projection of this corner, and the projection from this vertical edge will be taken. So when it is resting on one of its corner, we won't be able to see the axis because axis starting from the center of the top surface to the center of the bottom surface. But that axis is now overlapped with this one of the longer edge. So these are smaller edges. So these are the longer edge. Since longer edge is overlapped with the axis, in the front view, we won't be showing the axis, but we'll be showing a continuous line, which will be the longer edge of the square prism. So when you view from the front, you will have a front view of a rectangle. Instead of axis, you will be showing a continuous line because axis will be overlapped with that of a longer edge. But in case when it is resting on one of its side, you will be showing the axis. Why? Because axis will be visible when you view from the front. From the top to the bottom, the axis will be visible in the front view. That you have to remember. If it is resting on one of its corner, then the axis will be overlapped with the edge and hence you don't show the axis. So please read the question before you understand and solve the problem. Okay, so let us go back to the problem. Fine. and hence the true shape of the base will be shown in our top view. So how does it look like? It will not be a regular square. It is an rhombus kind of square what you have to construct, because it is resting on one of its corner. So when it is resting on one of its corner, the edge will be visible, not the axis, and hence here we show an continuous line. But in the previous problem, when it was resting on one of its side, when you extend from the center, you can visualize the center axis, and hence the axis we used to show. But if in this problem, if you show the axis, you will go wrong, because the axis is overlapped with one of the longer edge. So you have to show an continuous line. That is the difference in the first stage. So as explained, in the first stage, you will see the top view in like a rhombus kind of structure. So this will be the true shape of the surface, bottom surface of the square prism. So how you construct the square in inclined position such that you will get the corner? So how do you construct? First you draw a straight line, okay, or just make a reference point. From that point, you please take 45 degree this side and 45 degree this side. Means this exterior angle will be 45 and this exterior angle will be 45. For your construction purpose, you can just draw a small straight line, very light line, so that you can erase it later. Just draw a small straight line, take a 45 degree exterior angle, 45 degree exterior angle. After taking 45 degree exterior angle, these are the exterior angle. It is shown that the side of the square prism is 35 mm. So keep one end of the compass here, measure 35 mm and cut an arc on this 45 degree line. And again come here, on the 45 degree line, you measure 35 mm and cut an arc. So you got the two corners. This corner you have fixed already, and we need one more corner for the square. So from here, you just draw a perpendicular line such that this angle should be 90. All interior angles for the square will be 90, you know it. So from this end, you just draw a perpendicular line such that the included angle inside will be 90 degree. Similarly, from here also take 90 degree. So both will meet at a common point, or else you can measure 35 mm and cut an arc. From here also measure 35 mm and cut an arc. So you will get the bottom surface of the prism, which is the true shape what we get. Okay, true shape of the top view. So once it has been done, don't forget to write the centers and the naming for the each corner. And while naming, in the planes we used to give only one name, but here that is not the case. In the square prism, you will be having the top square as well as the bottom square. I told you the top square will be named as A, B, C, D, and the bottom square will be named as A1, B1, C1 and D1. So this is A, B, C and D. So when you view from the top, A will be visible and A1 will not be visible. So A you will put outside the bracket, A1 within the bracket. Similarly, if this is B, when you view from the top, B will be visible and B1 won't be visible. So you'll put B outside the bracket, B1 within the bracket. Similarly, C, when you view from the top, C will be visible, C1 won't be visible. So you will put C1 in the bracket, C outside the bracket. Similarly, this is D, corner D. When you view from the top, D will be visible, D1 won't be visible. So you'll put D1 in the bracket and D outside the bracket. So the naming you will do A1, B, B1, C, C1, D and D1. All A1, B1, C1, D1 will be within the bracket. After that, the center also you should name. How do you name it? You'll be having a center here O for the top surface and O1 for the bottom surface. So when you view from the top, the center of the top surface will be visible. So you will write it as O outside the bracket, and O1 will not be visible when you view from the top. So O1 will be written within the bracket, and hence this will be the naming, right? So you any order you can write. So here they have shown A1 from this end. Even from A1 you can show from here also A, B, C, D, whichever is convenient to you. So it is written A of A1, B of B1, C of C1 and D of D1. I explained you how you write it. So after that, even center, you will be having O and O1. So this is the naming of the top view for the position when it is resting on one of its corner on HP. So once it is done, now we have to get the first stage front view. I told the front view when it is resting on one of its corner, it looks like a rectangular surface. But axis you won't be showing because axis is overlapped here with an edge, and hence we have to show an continuous line. So to complete the front view, we need to know what is the axis length. But even though the axis is not shown over here, the axis length has to be considered to complete the rectangular surface. Axis is overlapped with the continuous line of this edge, but still that dimension has to be considered. So from the center, you will take a projection line. Please remember, draw the projection line as very thin line. So extend the projection line from the center and don't show the axis line. Please draw a continuous thick line and see the axis length, how much it is, 60 mm. So using scale also, you can measure directly 60 mm, or using compass also, you can measure 60 mm. Keep one end of the compass here and then cut an arc. So you got 60 mm. Similarly, from this corner, A1, you please take the projection above until you get 60 mm. And from the corner C1 also, please take the projection above and extend until the 60 mm line. So once you got 60 mm, please join it. Immediately you please darken it. Okay, so after darkening, you have to write the naming. So to write the naming, again, the observer views here from the bottom. So when he views here from the bottom, what happens? From the bottom, he is seeing, right? So when he sees from the bottom, you have C and C1 both. So bottom surface naming should be always written on the XY line. Top surface of the square prism has to be shown on the top surface. So C1 will become C1 dash. So you will write it as C1 dash. And C, which is of top surface, will be C dash because we are representing the front view. And now you come here. You have B of B1 and you have D of D1. Both B of B1 and D of D1 will be along the same line. First, we are addressing the bottom surface. So with respect to bottom surface, we have B1 and D1. So when the observer views from bottom, B1 will be visible and D1 is along the same line. It won't be visible. So hence you write B1 dash outside the bracket and D1 dash within the bracket. So this is over. For again the top surface, we have B and D. B and D will be along the same line. So when the observer views from bottom, B will be visible and D won't be visible. So you will write B dash and D dash in the bracket. So this is over. Apart from that, from the same line of contact, we have our center, which is O and O1. O1 is for the bottom surface, O is for the top surface. So when you project O1 to the front view, O1 will become O dash. And again, O will become O dash, right? But this O and O1 will not be visible. Why? Because observer is viewing from the bottom. Only B and B1 will be visible, which will become B1 dash and B dash. Since O and O1, D and D1 is along the same line, both D1 dash and D dash will be not visible. It is within the bracket. And even O and O1 will not be visible. And hence when it comes to front view, O1 dash and O dash also will not be visible. Hence we show it in the bracket. Since it is not visible, we are not showing here the axis line. Remember, we are showing the continuous line. So darken it, show the naming, do the naming, show the dimensions and do the naming immediately. So this completes our first stage. So after this, what we are doing? The first assumption is been over. So where we assume the axis to be perpendicular to HP. Along with that, the given situation where it is resting on one of its corner on HP is also satisfied. So second assumption is always we take the axis inclination with respect to HP. So please read the question. The second part, draw the projection of the prism when the axis of the prism is inclined to HP at 40 degree. So now the axis is inclined to HP at 40 degree. So how you do it? Always leave some space and then take a 40-degree line. So after you take 40-degree line, you have to shift the vertical position of the front view into the inclined position. Okay, so first you should be you have to fix some point. After taking 40 degree, you will fix this point such that the distance from the center to this corner will exactly touch on XY line. This corner should not be away from XY line or below XY line. It should be on XY line. For that, you should always measure this distance, how much it is, using the compass, and start moving the compass on this XY line with that measurement. Okay, and you just fix the point when that measurement exactly touches this XY line. So if you keep the compass here and measure this distance, if you keep and try to cut an arc, it comes down. Similarly, when you move the point here, okay, with this measurement, it might cut here somewhere below XY line again. And again, you will try and move from at this point with the same distance, you will try to cut an arc. So then it cuts here exactly on XY line. So please make a point of this reference point and cut an arc. So you fixed the front view now on given inclination to 40 degree to HP. So this part you have got it. And you need to get the remaining part. For that, what you have to do, from this point, you kindly extend the line. This line will be perpendicular always to this 40-degree line. So this angle should be always perpendicular. Be sure, don't draw the line of the base in an inclined position. This line should be perpendicular to 40-degree line. So from this line, you will extend a perpendicular line. Okay, after extending, you kindly measure from the center to this corner, what is this distance using the compass. Come back here, fix this point and just cut an arc. So you'll get to know the other corner of the base. Immediately you darken this distance. Once you have darkened this distance, you know the naming. This corner is C dash. Please write it as C dash. This corner is A dash. Kindly write it as A dash. And we have the 40-degree line. Now we have to measure until when you have to stretch this 40-degree line. For that we need the axis length. Axis length you get from the first stage. So you measure this exactly 60 mm and the same distance you cut an arc on 40-degree line. So you got this point. Similarly, draw a line here parallel to our axis line such that this angle will be 90 degree. You cannot draw inclined angle. When you draw a line parallel to the axis, this angle by default should be 90. Similarly, this end also you will draw a line parallel to 60 mm line and this angle should be exactly 90. After drawing the line, keep one end of the compass here and cut an arc for 60 mm after measuring from here. Again, keep one end of the compass here and measure 60 mm. So you got all these 3 points. So darken this immediately. This side, this longer side, and these are the shorter side or the edge. So now you have shifted the first stage front view into 40-degree inclination of HP. Please don't draw complete entirely and then do naming. Every stage, darken the each stage immediately and do the naming. Then only it helps you to read the locus, or else you will go wrong for sure. So once you have darkened, see the namings. Similar what you had in the first stage, please write the same. C dash, A dash, C1, A1 it should be, this is C dash and A dash. And here it is B dash, D dash and O dash. Here it is B1 dash, D1 dash and O1 dash. This is C1 dash and this is A1 dash. So after you complete the second stage of the front view, the procedure is the same. You know that you will take the projection from the front view towards our top view. So after you take the projection down, what is our next step? To extend the projection even from the top view. So you extend the projection. So after extending the projection, be sure to read the locus properly. So whenever the given axis is perpendicular to HP, you will just get only the true shape of the base. But when the given axis is inclined to particular angle, it helps you in showing the bottom surface as well as the top surface. I've told you in the last problem also, right? So when it is being inclined in this position, right, when the observer views from the top surface will be fully visible and the bottom surface will be partially visible. This side and this side will be visible, this part and this part will be hidden. Okay, so it helps you to visualize both the top as well as the bottom surface along with the longer edges. So that's what has been now shown in the second stage top view. Okay, so after this, after taking the projections, now we start reading the locus. So here, this is the first, give the naming for the bottom surface, then go for the top. Don't do both together. You get confused. Okay, so I'm starting reading the locus for the bottom surface. So bottom surface is nothing but C1, D1, A1 and B1. So now the locus of C1 is meeting C1 dash at this point. So you will name this as our C1. This is over. So now come here. D1 is for bottom surface. The locus of D1 is meeting D1 dash at this point. So name this as our D1. And then this is the locus of B1 and locus of B1 dash is meeting at this point. So we name this as our B1. And then here A1 is for bottom surface. Locus of A1 is meeting A1 dash at this point. So this will be our A1. So we got the naming for the bottom square surface A1, B1, C1 and D1, right? So then come for the top surface. So top surface, I told you the namings are A, B, C and D. So now start the reading locus for those points, corners. So locus of C is meeting C dash at this point. So this is our C. So now locus of A is meeting A dash at this point. So this is our A. Similarly, locus of B is meeting B dash at this point. So we got B. Along with that, locus of D is meeting D dash at this point. So you can see you have B dash, D dash, O dash along the same point. So D dash is meeting here. So this will be our point D. So now we got the four corners for the top surface as well as the bottom surface. So after giving the naming, what is the next procedure is, always we will join the outer boundary first, because whenever it is being inclined to particular position, some faces will be visible and some faces will be hidden. But the outer surface will not be hidden at any cost. So blindly closing your eyes also, you can join the outer boundary without thinking anything. So you can join C to B. Always C, you can assume D to D1 to D you will join, B1 to B you will join, A1 to A you will join, C1 to C you will join, O1 to O you will join. That provides you the connectivity between the bottom surface and the top surface, and also from access from the bottom surface to the top surface. Right, so first always you join the outer boundary. It is from C to B, B to B, C1 to B1, B1 to B, B1 B to A to D, D to D1. So this is the outer boundary. After drawing the outer boundary, now you have to think which are visible and which are hidden. So when the observer views from the top, I showed you the square prism, right? When the observer views from the top in inclined position, the outer surface will be totally visible, and hence we complete the outer surface with the continuous visible line, right? So now you can see this is the outer surface. When the observer views here from the top, this outer surface will be completely visible in our top view. So this we had joined already using dark visible line. So the remaining sides, D to C and C to B, you will join using dark with thick line. So we now completed the top surface of the square prism, right? And now you have to come back for the bottom surface. So at the bottom surface, two sides or the edges will not be visible when you view from the top. I told you. So when it has been inclined position, this will be visible. So when this part surface is visible, this portion of the side is visible, this portion of the side is visible. Similarly, this edge and this edge will not be visible. So when this given rectangular prism is inclined on is resting on the xy plane, so the corner which is touching the xy line, so the projection coming out through this corner, so this is the corner which is touching the xy line, or this corner is touching the xy line, right? So this when it is touching the xy line, the projection coming through that xy line will be hidden. So that I'll show you in the PPT. So this is the corner in which the square prism has been resting. So the projection coming out through that corner will be always hidden. So these two sides which is hidden theoretically is applicable practically also. Okay, so this is a crude method what they follow. So this is a corner which is on xy line. So when the projection comes, it is meeting the point here A1, right? So the projection which is coming from A1 to both the sides will be hidden. So you will draw hidden line from A1 to D1, hidden line from A1 to B1. So this was darkened previously. So we have completed, but still we haven't joined one more longer edge. So this is one more longer edge what we haven't joined. And I told you this edge is overlapping with the axis, and hence axis won't be visible. Here also the same case. This is when it is inclined in this position, right? When it is inclined in this position, so when you view from the front, right? So you will see the longer edge, but you cannot see the axis which is there from top to bottom surface, because the axis will be overruled by this edge. Right? The same thing now. Okay, so the axis will be overruled by the longer edge. So you will be not showing the axis line here, but you will show a continuous line for the longer edge from C1 to C. But within this, inside our axis from O1 to O is also there. But we cannot show here the axis from O1 to O because it is overlapped with the longer edge from C to C1. So we won't show, but this part we can show, right? This part is pending. But one more thing, so any projection coming from top surface of the square prism will be hidden, because when you see from the top, you can see the entire top surface, but the projection coming from inside the top surface will be hidden. So we have another side which is A1 and A. So this side will be hidden, the back side portion. Right, so when it has been inclined, you can see when it has been inclined, when you view from the top, so this top surface will be visible, but this back portion which is there will not be visible. Okay, so that portion is hidden, so what we have to show it as the hidden line. Okay, so and hence the part here from A to A1 will be hidden. C1 to C is visible, we have shown the outer edge. C1 to C is visible, we have shown continuous, but the back edge A to A1 will not be visible. So that part you will show it as hidden. You can show the hidden part only until here, not until A. Why? Because it has been overwritten by the outside edge. So the hidden line you will show only in this part. So this covers our top view for the second stage. So once it has been done, Please go through the last part. What is being asked? So it is being told the axis of the prism, which was inclined to 40 degree, is now inclined to 45 degree. So it is a problem on axis and not on the side. In the previous problem, it was told that one of the side was inclined to 30 degree to VP. So when it is a side, the true length of the first stage and the true length of the second stage will be the same. But when it is a problem on axis, the true length of the axis we get in the first stage only, but the true length of the axis in the second stage. So this is from O1 to O. If you measure this distance O1 to O, it will be smaller than that of the true length of the axis what we got in the first stage. In that case, you cannot directly shift to the given inclination of angle VP at 45. We have to determine the beta angle. But in this question, kindly read, it is told appears to be inclined to VP. If it was told it is inclined to VP at 45 degree, then we should determine the apparent angle beta. Since it is mentioned appears to be inclined, we won't be determining the apparent angle. We will directly shift the apparent length of the axis from the second stage to that of the third stage top view. Okay. Please read the question properly whether it is appears to be or not. So when it comes to the problem on solids, if the inclination is with respect to axis to VP, always the true length will be different, apparent length will be different. You have to determine the apparent angle. If it is given with respect to inclination of the side or the edge on VP, then in both the stages, true length will be same, then you won't determine the apparent angle. These concepts should be there in mind for you all always. Since it is appears to be, as explained, we will directly shift now the apparent length to 45 degree line. So first you take 45 degree line. After taking 45 degree line, you have to fix either O1 or O, whichever is convenient. So in this case, O is been fixed. To fix this point, see that you have enough space to complete below XY line. Don't start up very near to XY line. Leave some space such that even after identifying O, you should be having this much space to construct the remaining part of our top view. Okay, so don't start very near to XY line. Leave some gap and fix a point O. So we are fixing the center of the top surface. So once you fix the center of the top surface, you will measure this apparent length of the axis from O to O1, how much it is, using a compass. Come back to the point O here and cut an arc on this 45 degree line. So you will get the point O1. O and O1 is now fixed. So after you get O1, you have extended the line already, right? So now you have got from O to O1. You need this distance extra and this distance extra. So from O1, you measure this distance, how much it is, O1 to C, come back to this point, the same distance you cut an arc on this 45 degree line. So we'll get this point, name immediately as C. And again, this point you have got already, this is the 45 degree line. On 45 degree line, you please measure from O to A, what is the distance. Come back here and cut an arc on 45 degree line. So you will get the corner A. So name it immediately. So now you got this entire line. C, O1, right? Again, C1, O1, C, O and A. So you got all the namings here. And you haven't named this A1. That is on the line already. So from the center O1 to A1, what is the distance you please measure? Come back to the center O and just make a reference point. So name it as A1. So this line is completed. This line we have completed. So this part of the prism and this part of the square prism has to be completed. So how do you do that? So after this, what you do is, there are like 2 to 3 methods what usually the people follow according to their requirements. So from the center, you can just draw an perpendicular line. Okay, so this line will be perpendicular to our axis line, right? So from this center, you will just draw an perpendicular line. I'll just show you. Okay, so you can just draw an perpendicular line for construction purpose. So after you draw perpendicular line, so you can measure this distance. O to D is how much? Keep measure using compass. Keep one end of the compass here and cut an arc. And similarly, from O to B, you measure the distance. Keep one end of the compass here and cut an arc. So you got the corners now, D and B. C and A you had already. So now what you do is, you will join A to B, B to C, C to D and D to A using dark line immediately. Why? It is visible here. No need to rethink again. And this part is over. After this, after you got all the 4 corners, so now we have to come back to this. So this is very easy. So when you have this corner A, D and B, just draw the projection parallel to our XY line from the corner D. Okay, this axis line we have already. So from B also, just draw the line parallelly to our axis line. So from D to D1, what is the distance you please measure? Keep one end of the compass here and cut an arc. Similarly, from B to B1, you measure what is the distance. Keep one end of the compass here. You have projected this line already. On this line, you just cut an arc. So we will get the corners D1 and B1. So this A1 is marked already. So now you will join C to D1, D1 to A1, A1 to B1 and B1 to C1. While joining, you please see which sides are hidden and which are visible. Same thing you have to replicate here. So D1 and A1 was hidden. Here also will show D1 and A1 to be hidden. And A1 and B1 was hidden. Even also here we show A1 and B1 as hidden. And the line which is coming inside the top surface from C to A was hidden. So please show from C to A as hidden dotted line. So this completes our third stage of the problem, top view, third stage. So after this, the final stage of the front view, how does it look like? That has to be determined. For that, again, the procedure, you have to take all the projections from each and every corner of the top view. Don't leave any single corner also. All the 4 corners of the base, all the 4 corners of the top and the center, O1 and O also should be projected. So after you take all the projection, you will extend the projection from each corner from the front view also. So this is on XY line, so no need to extend. So we will extend the projection from B1 dash and D1 dash. O1 dash is also on the same line. Please draw the extension. So when it has been inclined on when it has been resting on one of its corner, both will be diagonally opposite. So the projection here of C1, of C dash and A dash will be along the same line. If you have constructed properly, both will come along the same line. Similarly, B dash, D dash and O dash will come along the same line and C dash will come along the same line. After this, you have to start reading the locus. So first, always project the square or bottom surface of the square prism. So the locus of D1 is meeting D1 dash at this point. So name this as D1 dash. And then locus of C1 is meeting C1 dash at this point. So name it as C1. Locus of A1 is meeting A1 dash at this point. So this will be our A1 dash. And locus of B1 is meeting B1 dash at this point. So name that as B1 dash. So we named all the four corners. Don't join immediately. Just do the naming of the top surface also. So then you come here, locus of A is meeting, top surface is located here. Don't take the projection from here or else you'll go wrong. The bottom surface we have done already. Now the top surface. Locus of A is meeting A dash at this point. So this is our A dash. Then locus of B is meeting B dash at this point. So this is our B dash. And then locus of C is meeting C dash at this point. So this is our C dash. Then locus of D is here. Locus of D is meeting D dash at this point. So this is our D dash. So now we named the top surface also. Center, we will do it at the last stage. So once you did the naming, here also outer boundary will remain will be visible. It won't be hidden. So we will join the outer boundary first. So before drawing, some concepts you have to keep in mind. So C1 dash to C dash will be coming along the same line, and that will be parallel to the other side, B1 dash to B dash. And similarly, if you join D1 dash to D1, this will be along the same line and it will be parallel. And A1 dash to A, this also will be parallel, and the axis line what you draw also will be parallel. If you get any crooked inclined line, then that shows that you haven't read the locus properly, or else you might have not taken the projection properly, or else you might have gone wrong in constructing the top view of the third stage itself. So please be careful such that you will get a proper final stage of our front view. Right, after naming, now we have to join the outer boundary. So join D1 dash to A1 dash, A1 dash to A dash, A dash to B dash, B dash to C dash, C dash to C1 dash, C1 dash to D1 dash. So this outer boundary will be completely visible. Along with that, these two surfaces also will be visible. Okay, so you can join this. So before joining this, if you need the clarity, please see here. So we have here two sides which are hidden. So the projection coming from D, projection coming from D1, projection coming from A1 and projection coming from B1 should be hidden. But it should be applicable here also. If these projections lie on the outer boundary, then that will not be considered. If it lies within the body, then that will be considered. So see now, the projection of D1 is here. But from D1, you have the projection from D1 to C1, from D1 dash to C1 dash, from D1 dash to A1 dash also. This lie on the outer boundary. So you cannot show the hidden line on the outer boundary. So that gets nullified. But along with that, you have a projection which is going inside the surface of the solid edge also. D1 dash to D dash, that will be hidden. So any projection which is passing through the hidden line will be hidden line only, provided it is within the solid, given solid. And hence the projection D1 to C, from D dash to C dash, D dash to A dash will also be hidden. So this is done. So now again you see the projection from A1 should be hidden as per the theoretical concept. But the projection of A1 is passing through A1 dash to D1 dash, which is at the outer boundary. It cannot be applicable. And again A1 dash to C1 dash, again it is on the outer boundary. It cannot be applicable. And again A1 dash to A dash, it is on the outer boundary. It won't be applicable. And the last part is B. The projection of B, where it is coming. This is a projection of B. So this is B dash. So from B dash you have, from B1 dash you have B dash, and from B1 dash you have C1 dash. Both are coming on the outer boundary of the solid edge, which has to be visible. So you cannot show the hidden line. So only the option for hidden line is through the projection of D1 dash, because here it is passing through the inside the given solid object. So these will be hidden outer boundary will be continuous line and outer sides or the edges also will be visible. So this is how you have to construct the final stage. Once you have constructed, don't forget to map the axis from the bottom to that of the top surface. Read the axis locus. Locus of O1 is meeting O1 dash at this point. So fix a point here as O1 dash. Similarly, the locus of O is meeting O dash at this point. So this point will be O dash. Later you have to join O1 dash to O. Okay, so this will be the axis line. This axis line again will be parallel to the longer edges of the given solid object. If it is inclined, then it shows you have gone wrong somewhere. So this is about constructing the problem in the sketchbook for stage 1, stage 2 and stage 3 when the given problem of the square prism is resting on one of its corner. And since it is appears and it is a problem on the axis because axis is inclined to VP at 45, but it is not directly inclined and it is appears to be inclined. So here we are not determining the apparent angle beta. Okay, so this is about the second problem, how you have to solve. Is any doubt? Hope it is clear. Hello? Hello? Namrata, you're here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, hope it was understandable.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, the same problem is been given with respect to the video link also. Any doubt while constructing, see that you refer both the class video as well as the video link and draw the problem completely. While solving the problem initially it might take 30 minutes, yeah, 35, 40 to 45 minutes for some students when you start for the first time. So when you keep on solving the problems, it helps you to complete the given problem within 15 to 20 minutes. So practice is very essential. You cannot directly write it in the test and the examination. Even you have to see how much time you take in solving each problem. And solids is a very important chapter. Please go through the Google Classroom video link and the videos what I have shared. Please solve the problem immediately before you come to the class on Tuesday and install the Solid Edge without fail. I will just show you one more problem how to solve it. Okay, so first one we did when the given problem was resting on one of its side, right? So what happened to this? Yeah. So first problem what we solved was with respect to resting on one of its side on HP. The second problem we solved for the square prism when it is resting on one of its corner. Okay, so next we have to see the third problem, how it looks like. I'll just share you just a second. Yeah. So this was the first problem which helped you to understand how to solve the problem when it is resting on one of its side. So second was the problem which was explained when it is resting on one of its corner, and it was an axis problem along with that, which was appears to be inclined, and hence we didn't determine the apparent angle beta. So this is the third problem. It is the same square prism which is resting on one of its corner, but here they haven't told it is appears resting on one of its corners. So the first stage will be the same as we did in the second problem. Even the second stage will be the same, because second stage we assume the axis is inclined to particular angle, and in this case the inclination of the axis is given to 40 degree. So we do the same thing, same procedure as I explained you in the second problem. Only and the same way you will get the top view of it. Only the difference here is in the third stage, it is being told the axis is inclined to VP at 30 degree. In the previous problem, it was told the axis appears to be inclined to VP. Only the angle is different. Appears to be inclined to VP at 45. And hence we didn't determine the apparent angle beta here. Since it is not mentioned appears to be inclined, and it is told that the axis is inclined to HP at 40 and to VP at 30, we should determine the apparent angle beta. And after determining, always write in the bracket beta is equal to how much. Within a box you please write. So again, go through the question. It is a square prism of 35 mm side and axis is 60 mm, and it is resting on one of its corner. So when it is resting on one of its corner, we show the corner and not the straight edge. Since it is resting on one of its corner, the axis will be overlapped with the edge, and hence we don't show the axis here, but still we consider the axis height of 60 mm and complete the rectangular surface as our front view. And we do the naming as I've explained you. The bottom surface will be named C1, B1, A1 and D1. The top surface will be named as C, B, A and D. And same thing when you project up, in the front view, you name all the bottom surface terminologies on XY line and top surface terminologies on the top surface of the front view, and darken it immediately as I explained. And in the second step, again you take the axis for the given inclination. Always in first stage, axis will be assumed to be perpendicular. In the second stage, you take the inclination with respect to the inclination given in the HP. So HP here is inclined to 40 degrees. So you will take 40 degree line. Then you will shift the front view to this 40 degree line. For that, only the small trial version, what you have to do is from the center to the corner, you will measure this distance, how much it is. Move on this 40 degree line until and unless the distance cuts exactly on XY line. So you will keep one end of the compost here, move on XY line until that distance will match on XY line. If it matches, you will cut the arc immediately. So you will get this point A1 dash and O1 dash. So remaining, you will draw a perpendicular line, give the naming here as C1. Once you got the base, remaining part you will construct it. For first, you will take the axis height to be 60 mm. Then you will draw this line parallel to our axis line. Draw this line parallel to our axis line. And then measure 60 mm and cut an arc. Measure 60 mm and cut an arc. Join this. So you get the tilted version of the front view. Do the naming similar to that of the first stage. Keep it ready, darken it, take the projection, extend the projection from the top view, read the locus carefully, give the naming for bottom surface and the top surface, then join the outer boundary because all the sides of the outer boundary will be visible. And when the observer views from the top surface also will be visible. So top surface, the other two sides also you will darken it. So this is ready. So when the corner is on XY line, the projection coming through it will be always hidden because two sides will not be visible when it is viewed from the top. So these are the two sides which is coming through the projection A1 dash. So you join these to be as hidden. And here we cannot show axis line. In the previous problem, we showed axis line because it was resting on one of its edge. We could directly project from the center to show the axis. But here in this problem, since it was inclined, the axis line was overlapping with the edge, and hence we could not show the axis line. So for that reason, we had shown the continuous line of the longer edge, right? And apart from that, there is a backside longer edge which is not visible from A1 to A. So that we showed it as a hidden line. So all these until here, it is same as that as of a second stage problem. Only the difference now comes with respect to determining the beta angle. Please read carefully. So how you solve a beta angle problem in case of an solids? When it is of an axis, always you get to determine the beta angle. If it is inclined to side, you won't determine the beta angle. If it is appears to be also, you won't determine. If it is directly told the axis is inclined to VP at 30, then you have to determine the beta angle. So for that, listen carefully. First, you will take the axis on 30 degree to VP. So leave some space and take 30 degree line, 30 degree to VP. First, you will take 30 degree line. The beta angle concept will remain the same as you followed in projection of planes, right? So here first you have to see, since it is a problem on axis, in which stage you are getting the true length of it. So the true length of it is being obtained in the front view. So you have to fix one point. Either you have to fix O or O1. So here O1, usually we fix the center of the top surface. So center of the top surface is this, right? So now on this 30 degree line, you just make a point such that you have space to construct the remaining part also and extend the remaining part on the other side as well. So select the point O in such a way, do the naming. After you do the naming, you please measure this distance. How much it is? The axis height, you please measure, it is 60 mm. Using the compass, you keep 60 mm and then come here, fix one end of the point over here and cut an arc on this 30 degree line. So this is our 30 degree line. On this 30 degree line, from O, you will cut an arc. So it meets here. So this is our O1, right? So O to O1, O to O1 is the true length what we have now cut an arc. So after you cut an arc through O1, please draw an locus. So this is a locus line from O1. So after you draw the locus line, come back to the second stage. You cannot measure the axis distance in an inclined position. So when you project down, you get the apparent length of it. So from here, you measure the axis length from O to O1, how much it is, using the concept, using the compass. Then after you measure from the compass, this end is fixed. So keep one end of the compass here and try to cut an arc on the locus of O1 which is drawn. So it might meet here somewhere. So immediately join this as an O1. So now we got the axis inclined to our apparent angle. So once you got this axis, you kindly extend this axis to, you kindly extend the apparent length of the axis to XY line. So when you extend it, you can measure the beta angle, how much you are getting. So beta angle will be exactly equal to 41 degree in this problem. So once you got the beta angle, now the remaining procedure is same as we constructed the second stage top view to third stage in the previous problem. Similarly, we have to do it. Only doing the apparent angle, only constructing apparent angle beta will be little bit different. So once you got the axis, see that which part is visible and which part is hidden. So this is O1 to, this is 30 degree line. Don't try to construct on the axis line, on the 30 degree line. You have to construct on the beta angle, right? So this is our beta angle. Okay, so now we have got O1 to O. So from O1 to O, in that we have 3 points. O1 to O, we have 4 points. O1 to A1, we have A1 to C, we have C to O. So all the 4 namings, you please do it immediately. You measure from O1 to A1 what is the distance, and come here and just cut an arc. So you'll get A1. Name it immediately. And from then again you have one more point from A1 to C. You measure this distance, how much it is, and then you cut an arc immediately. So this is C, and O is fixed already. So from C to O, it is an hidden line. So please make it hidden line. You, for construction purpose, you would have done continuous line, erase and make it hidden line. So this one we have now done. O1 to A1, A1 to C, and C to O. After shifting this axis with the namings, now we have to construct the remaining part. So what you do is, you will now measure from O to A what is the distance. So measure O to A, what is O to A, what is the distance, and cut an arc on our beta angle line. Okay. So that also is hidden line from O to A. So name it as hidden line and give the naming as A. And now come back. From O1 to C, you need to know the distance. O1 to C, measure this distance. Keep one end of the compass here and you just cut an arc. So you got now C. So this entire line, now you got the naming. So remaining part we have to construct. So how do you construct? As I told in the previous problem, from the center you will draw a perpendicular line. After drawing, because this axis will be perpendicular to this line, then only you can name the other two corners of the square. So from O, you will draw a perpendicular line. So for this axis line, for this apparent angle, beta angle, you will be drawing a perpendicular line. After you draw a perpendicular line, you will measure from O to D what is the distance and cut an arc on this perpendicular line. Similarly, O to B you will measure and you will cut an arc on the perpendicular line what you have drawn. So you got now other two corners of the top surface. These two corners were fixed already. So immediately you join the top surface of the square prism. So once you have joined, we need to construct the remaining part. For that we need the parallel lines. So what we do is, because the top surface and the bottom surface are parallel to each other, we need the longer edges which are drawn parallel to the axis. So from this corner D, you will draw a parallel line to the axis line, that is the apparent angle line. And again from corner B, you will draw a parallel line which is parallel to our apparent length of the axis. So once you draw a parallel line, so now you should identify the other points. So you will measure from D to D1 what is the distance. Keep one end of the compass here and you will cut an arc. Similarly, you measure from B to B1 what is the distance. You will keep one end of the compass here and you cut an arc. So you got these two names now, D1 and B1. So name this immediately, D1 and B1. This A1 we have determined previously only when we determined the apparent length of the axis. So now we have all the four corners. So you will be joining so you will be joining C1 to B1, C1 to D1, D1 to A1, and A1 to B1. Okay, so please join as it is shown over here. These two sides are continuous and thick. So you show a continuous and thick line. D1 to A1 and B1 to A1 is hidden. Also show these to be as hidden. So we completed the shifting of the second stage top view to the third view, right? Don't forget to write the axis name. It is done already, so no need of showing it again. So all the thing exactly replicable of the second stage should be mapped over here. Only thing, the axis will be shifted to the beta angle 41 degree. So once this is done, if you need, you can draw and show the dimensions also. Both will be mapping. The true length here should, the apparent length of the axis here should map with the apparent length of the axis what you have taken. The true length of the axis 60 mm should map with the true length of the axis what you have taken. If both the things are mapped, then the third stage top view is correct. Initially, in the first two problems, for cross-checking purpose, you please check the dimensions and see. Then you'll come to know whether you have constructed properly or not. After this, the last stage, we need to determine the final stage of the front view. For that, what we do? We take the projection from D1, projection from C1, projection from B1, projection from A1, and also from center also we have to take, don't forget, from O1. Similarly, projection from B, projection from A, projection from D, and projection from C you have to extend. So after you extend the projection, we also extend the projection from C dash, A dash, B dash, D dash, O dash along the same line, C1 dash and A1 dash along the same line, B1 dash and D1 dash along the same line, O1 dash is also along the same line, and A1 dash along the same line. Okay, so after taking the projections, please read the locus carefully. Don't read the locus of bottom surface with the top surface. You will go wrong. Please read the locus of bottom surface with the bottom surface of the front view only. The locus of top surface of the square with the front view of the top surface Okay, so now you see locus of A is here. A1 is meeting A1 dash at this point. So this is our A1 dash. So this is the locus of B. Locus of B1 dash is meeting here. So this is our B1 dash. It is not named here, but this is B1 dash. Then locus of D1 is meeting D1 dash at this point. So this is our D1 dash. Locus of C1 is meeting C1 dash at this point. So this is our C1 dash. And then this is a center. Locus of O1 is meeting O1 dash at this point. So this is our O1 dash. So we now got all the corners of the bottom surface. Similarly, we take the projection from the top surface. So locus of A is meeting A dash at this point. So this is our A dash. Locus of B is meeting B dash at this point. So this is our B dash. If you have 3 points together, the projection of all the 3 points should come along the same line. Then only you have taken the projection properly. Okay. So then the locus of C is meeting C dash at this point. So this is our C dash. Locus of D is meeting D dash along this point. So this is our D dash. We got all the 4 corners. Then the center. Locus from O is meeting O dash at this point. So this is our O dash. Okay, so this is the naming of the top surface. Here also, after you name the bottom and the top surface, one thing you have to keep in mind, the outer boundary will be always visible. So you please join the outer boundary. So outer boundary here is A1 dash to A dash to B dash to C dash to C1 dash to D1 dash, and D1 dash to A1 dash. Okay, so after completing, even this is the outer surface of the given rectangular lamina, because when the observer views from here for the front view, the top view he views from here. Okay, for the inclined position, this will be the front view. So when he views from here, the projection which is coming inside that surface will be always hidden. So this line will be hidden as per the concept. Along with the concept, even it should map with the hidden lines what you have drawn. Right, so you have to see now the projection which is coming from D1. Since this is hidden line, the projection passing through D1, A1 and B1 should be hidden. So first we will try with D1. So projection coming from D1 is passing through D1 to D1 dash to C1 dash. It is passing through D1 dash to A1 dash, which are outer boundary which cannot be hidden. So this you will make it continuous line. But along with that, you have the projection from D1 dash, which is also going inside the given solid object. So this will be hidden. When the observer views from here, this is the inner part which won't be visible. So this projection D1 dash to D dash will be hidden. But this line is also extended for two more connectivity of the corners, which are D1 dash to C1 dash, D1 dash to A1 dash, and hence this also will be hidden. So corner D is over. So now corner A1 is also with the dotted line. So you have to check similarly for the corner A1 dash here. So where A1 dash comes here, the projection of it comes to A1 dash to A dash, which is outside boundary. So this will be continuous. Again A1 dash to D1 dash it comes, which is also outer boundary. So this will be continuous. One more you have from A1 dash to B1 dash. This is also at the outer side, which is the out, because this is the outer side of the square surface, which is visible, and hence this also cannot be hidden. So this is done. Similarly, from the point B also, the projection coming from B lies in these three places, 1, 2 and 3, which are from the outside boundary of the solid, and hence even that will be continuous line. You cannot show the hidden line. So this is how you have to solve the problem when it is resting on one of its corner, and it is an axis problem where the axis is directly inclined to VP at the given angle. If it would have told appears to be, then we would have shifted directly the axis to 30-degree line without determining the beta angle. Okay. So after this, I'll just explain you the last fourth problem. This is simple. This type of problem we have done already. So this is exactly similar to the first problem. Only thing here will be adding the apparent angle. You can notice. Okay, so this was the first problem, which was resting on one of its side on HP, in which clearly we were able to identify the axis. In this, they had given the inclination with respect to HP and VP. And you know, first stage you assume the axis to be perpendicular, and the second stage we assume axis to be inclined to given angle of HP. And in the third stage, it was told that the side was inclined to VP, and hence since it was side, the true length of the first stage and the true length of the second stage was same. We didn't determine the apparent angle. But the same thing here, it is given in the problem. It is not the side inclination with respect to VP. It is the axis inclination with respect to VP in the third stage. Since it is axis inclination, the true length of the axis will not be equal to the apparent length of the axis what you get in the second stage, and hence we have to determine the apparent angle beta. For this, how to solve the problem. Along with this, one more category you can get in the question, as I explained you. If it is not given directly inclined to VP at 30 degree, if they would have given appears to be inclined to 30 degree, then the first stage and the second stage will be the same. For the third stage, instead of determining the apparent angle, we will shift directly the apparent length of the axis to given 30 degree to VP, complete the third and the fourth stage. If it is asked appears to be inclined in axis problem when it is resting on one of its side on HP. But in this case, it is a problem resting on one of its side. It is a problem on axis which is directly involved to, which is directly inclined to the axis at HP as well as VP, and hence we have to determine the apparent angle beta. Hello ma'am, ನಾನು ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್, ಒಂದು 12:50 I'll call you back. Okay. So when it has been inclined to 45, when it has been inclined directly to VP, we have to determine the apparent angle. So first and second stage you know how to construct, only the last stage you should understand. Okay, so since it is a regular square prism of 35 mm resting on one of its side on HP, you know how the position will be. So you will be having your horizontal plane and the vertical plane. So this will be the position of the square prism, which will be resting such that the axis will be perpendicular to HP and it is resting on one of its side, right? Well, it is resting on one of its side of the base. So the base side should be resting on HP, not the corner. Since it is resting on one of its side, what happens here when you view from the top, the true shape of the square base will be visible in our top view. Similarly, when you view from the front, the rectangular surface will be visible in our front view in VP plane. Apart from that, the axis also will be visible because from the top to the center, if you join, when you project the projection from top to front view, the axis will be visible. So you will show the axis line along with the rectangular surface. But when it is inclined to particular corner, then the axis will be overlapped with the longer edge, then you won't show the axis. That difference you have to keep it in mind. Okay. So based on that, again, I'll just brush up with the first and the second stage and explain the beta angle. And as you will see the bottom surface of the square prism with the side 35 mm. So we'll just draw a regular square. You know how to construct a regular square. You will draw an horizontal line, right? You take 35 mm exactly. From there, you take 90-degree upright from both the corners, measure 35 mm, cut an arc, measure 35 mm, cut an arc, and then you join this. Okay, so also identify the center by joining the two diagonals of the square base. After that, please do the naming. I told the naming is given A, B, C for the top surface, A1, B1, C1, D1 for the bottom surface. So bottom surface will not be visible when you view from the top. So I will write it as A1, B1, C1 and D1 in the bracket. The top surface will be visible A, B, C and D, and hence you write outside the bracket. After this, you will identify the center you have done already. From the center, you will take the projection above, and here the axis height is given as 60 mm. So please, using the compass or the scale, mark 60 mm where it comes exactly. Then from here also, you please take the projection. Let the projection line be very thin. Take the projection until 60 mm. Take the projection until 60 mm. Once you get the front view, dark immediately using the thick pencil. Then give the naming of the bottom surface at the bottom, top surface at the top. When the observer views from bottom surface is B1 and C1. So out of these two, B1 will be visible and C1 will not be visible. So when you write in the front view, it becomes B1 dash and C1 dash. Similarly, when the observer views from here, A1 will be visible and D1 won't be visible. So A1 dash you write outside and D1 dash. Similarly, name it for the top surface. You will be having B and C. When you view from the bottom, B will be visible, C won't be visible. So we'll write B1 dash and C1 dash. And here when you view, A will be visible and D won't be visible. So we'll write A1 dash outside and D1 dash. Similar, the naming is similar to the previous problem. So don't worry. So I just brushed out a little bit quickly. So in the first stage, once you have shown the position resting on one of its side, satisfying the condition axis perpendicular to HP. In the second stage, the assumption is we assume the axis inclined to the angle. In this case, HP is 45. So please draw the axis and shift the front view to the inclined angle. For that, you should measure this distance, how much it is. Keep one end of the compass, measure using the compass and start moving the compass on this 45-degree line until that distance matches exactly on XY line. So at that particular point, cut the arc, you will get this half portion of the base. Then you extend this line vertically. This angle should be 90 degree. Then you measure this distance, remaining distance, how much it is, and you cut an arc. Once you got the base, kindly name it B1 dash, C1 dash, A1 dash, and D1 dash. Once you got, draw the line parallel to the axis line from both the side. After that, you measure the true length here, how much it is. Cut an arc. Measure the true length. Keep one end of the compass here. Cut an arc. After that, join all the three lines here. So you got the tilted front view. So please darken it immediately. After darkening, do the naming as mentioned in the first stage. So once you do the naming, your now work is to take the projections down as usual. So you'll take the projection down, then you extend the projection over here. After extending, please read the locus properly. Locus of first read the locus for bottom surface and then for top surface. Locus of B1 is meeting B1 dash at this point, so this is our B1. Locus of A1 is meeting A1 dash at this point, this is our A1. Locus of C1 is meeting C1 dash at this point, so this is our C1. Locus of D1 is meeting D1 dash at this point, so this is our D1. Similarly, read the locus. So locus of D for the top surface, locus of C is meeting C dash at this point, so this is our C. Locus of D is meeting D dash at this point, so this is our D. Locus of A is meeting A dash at this point, this is our A. Locus of B is meeting B dash at this point, so this is our B. And hence we got A, B, C and D as the top surface. And this is the bottom surface. So once you show the naming, the procedure is we always join the sides immediately, outer boundary, so that the corner will be visible. So that the outer sides will be visible always. So once you join this, what we do is you have to identify which are the other sides visible. So you know from when you view from the top surface will be visible. So this surface we will join immediately. I have shown this already. So when you view, when it is being inclined in this surface and when you view from the top surface will be visible fully. And hence you will show the visibility. Okay, so this top surface will be visible fully, but this corner is lying on XY line. So the projection which comes through the corner on XY line will be continuous, will be hidden. So you will make this as an hidden line. So after you make this as an hidden line, then you have to show the axis. So the axis here is moving from O to O1. Just a second. Okay, so this will be hidden. So after it is hidden, so we'll identify the center from O to O1. So this center axis here will be visible. Whenever it is resting on one of its side, the axis will be visible. So we'll show the axis. So once it is been done, then you have to determine the apparent angle beta, because the axis here is inclined to 30 degree directly, not appears to be. So how you construct? First you take 30-degree line. After taking 30-degree line, you have to measure the true length of the problem. The true length of the problem here is, the true length of the axis is 60 mm. So leave some space and you take the true length, how much it is, and you cut an arc on 30-degree line. So you name this as O1 and O1 dash. Okay, so after naming this, you please draw the locus through O1. So once you draw the locus through O1, measure the apparent length from the second stage top view from O to O1 using the compass. Keep one end of the compass here and just cut an arc on the locus of O1. So then you will get the apparent length of the axis from O to O1. Once you get the apparent length of the axis, you extend this to 40, you extend this line to XY line. Then you measure how much you get the beta angle. That will be equal to 45 degree. So once you get this apparent angle, then you have to construct the remaining part of the front top view. So you now know the axis from O to O1, remaining all corners of the top and the bottom surface to be determined. So for this, you have to draw exactly perpendicular line from O and O1. So this is our O. So from O, you just draw a perpendicular line. Okay, so after drawing the perpendicular line, you measure from O to this distance, from O to this point, what is the distance? So on this perpendicular line, from O to this, you just cut an arc. How much you got? And similarly, from O to this midpoint, how much it is? You measured and you just cut an arc on the perpendicular line what you draw. So you got these 2 points now. So from these 2 points, you measure backside from the midpoint to the D, how much it is. So from this point, you just measure, okay, for this point you got, right? So after you got this point and this point, I didn't tell you, you just draw a line parallel to our axis length, apparent length of the axis, that is a beta angle. So once you got this point, you will draw a line parallel to the axis line. Hope you understood. First you determine the apparent angle beta 45. In that case, you'll be knowing O and O1. So after knowing O and O1, measure the distance from O to this midpoint, how much it is. Measure the distance from O to this midpoint, how much it is. On this perpendicular line, what you have drawn. So you'll get these 2 reference points. Once you got these 2 reference points, just draw a parallel line to the beta angle line. Again, parallel line to the beta angle line at the reference point what you have marked. So once you draw the parallel line, from this midpoint to this distance, how much it is you measure, come on this parallel line and keeping one end of the compass here at the midpoint, just cut an arc. Similarly, at the midpoint here, you just cut an arc. You got the points D and A. Name it immediately. After you got this, from D to C, how much is the distance you measure? Keep one end of the compass here and cut an arc on the parallel line, what you have drawn. Similarly, on the parallel line, you measure A to B, what is the distance, and you cut an arc. So you got the top surface, and top surface is continuous and visible. So darken it. After that, you need to know the other corners, right? Which pass along the same line. And this line you have drawn already. So you measure C to D1, what is the distance, and you cut an arc. Similarly, from B to A1, what is the distance, and you cut an arc. So after you cut an arc, you will get the corners D1 and A1, right? So after this, you need to get the remaining part of the bottom surface. So you measure from D1 to C1, what is the distance, and you just cut an arc. And again, you measure from A1 to B1, what is the distance, and you just cut an arc on the parallel line what you have drawn already. So now you got all the 4 corners of the bottom surface also, and the top surface also. Only thing you have to join and darken it. So here the outer boundary was continuous and visible. Draw continuous and visible line. So this side was also continuous and visible because top surface will be visible. So make it dark. Only the hidden line what you have to show is from D1 to A1. So show this as an hidden and write it in the box what is the angle beta you are getting. So after this, you will just take the projection above from the top view, and then you extend the projection from the front view also from each points. Don't forget to draw the projections, and always remember when the problem is resting on one of its side. Okay, so when you take the apparent angle beta, there will not be the chance of B1 dash and A1 dash come along the same line. Whenever it is resting on one of its corner, these 2 points come along the same line. But whenever it is resting on one of its side, both will not be on the same line. It will be coming in the different locus. Be careful. So then you take the projections from each corner of the front view and the top view. Start reading the locus. So locus of locus of C. So locus of C is meeting C1 dash at this point. So this is our C1 dash. Locus of B1 is meeting B1 dash at this point. So this is our B1 dash. So locus of A is meeting A1 dash at this point. So this is our A dash. Locus of D 1 is meeting D1 dash at this point, so this is our D dash. Similarly, locus of A is meeting A1 dash at this point, so this is our A dash. Locus of D is meeting D dash. A and D is along the same line. Locus of D and D1 dash is meeting along the same line, so name this as D dash. So you'll come to know whether the projection is right or not. D dash and A dash should come along the same line because both points here along the same point. And then locus of C is meeting C dash at this point, name it as C dash. Locus of B is meeting B dash at this point, so name it as B dash. So after this, identify the center also. Locus of O1 is meeting O1 dash at this point, so this is our O1 dash. Locus of O is meeting O dash at this point, so this is our O dash. So in this case also the outer boundary will be visible. So join all the outer boundaries from A1 dash to A dash to B dash to C dash to C1 dash to D1 dash to A1 dash. And this outer two surfaces also will be visible. C1 dash to B1 dash to B dash. This is over. So then you have to see which are the surfaces which are hidden. For that, first you have to see any hidden lines in the top view. So this is a hidden line. So the projection coming through D1 should be hidden. So what are the projections which are coming to D1? It is D1 dash to A1 dash. It is outer boundary, so it will be visible. D1 dash to C1 dash is also outer boundary, so it will be visible. Along with that, you have one more projection which is going inside the solid. That is D1 dash to D dash. So these edge or the side will be hidden. So the this one projection which is coming through this side will be hidden. So after that, it is having a continuity with D1 dash with D dash to A dash and D dash to C dash also, which is inside the solid, and hence even these two will be hidden. Okay, then you have to cross check with A1 also. Sorry, this is A1, yeah, A1. So A1. So the projection coming through A1 is from A1 dash to D1 dash. It is acting at the outer boundary, so that will be visible. A1 dash to A dash. It is at the outer boundary, so that will be visible. Again, A1 dash to B1 dash. It is also from the outer boundary, and hence this also will be visible. So only the hidden lines are three sides. D1 dash to D dash to C dash, C and D dash to A dash. So after that, axis also you have named. Just join both the center of the axis O1 dash to O dash. All the lines will be parallel to each other. Any two sides you take, this and this will be parallel. This side will be parallel to this. This side will be parallel to this. This side will be parallel to this. This small side of the square base will be parallel to the top surface side. Okay, so if you have constructed properly, everything will be parallel. If you get anywhere inclined lines, either for the axis or for the longer edge or for the shorter edge of the base and the top square prism, then you might have gone wrong somewhere in either determining the beta angle properly or taking the projections properly, yeah, naming it properly. Okay, so you have to cross check where you have gone wrong. So this is how you have to solve the problems. So I have covered all the 4 problems related to projection of solids in square prism. So you please have a look of the primer which has been given to you. Go through the videos, links which are shared in Mechanical Department YouTube channel, and also today's classwork, what we have discussed in Google Meet. All the links will be shared in your Google Classroom. Kindly go through it and complete and submit it. I will tell you the due date when you have to submit. So before that, any pending problem related to circular lamina, I think only one student has turned in, hopefully Namrata. The others, kindly do it and complete all the pending part, because we have started the projection of solids. So we have to go in full fledged. So please don't keep any lagging part in your, kindly complete it. All the links are shared in the Google Classroom. Any doubt, go through the links, refer the class, Google Meet, yeah, Zoom Meet classes, wherever it has been done. Okay, go through the primer also, but see that you successfully solve the problem in the sketchbook. and submit me right away as per the due dates mentioned. And before on Tuesday, I will be solving the problems in Solid Edge related to today's four problems. I will just try to explain either one or two in the class. The same procedure you will follow and you will solve from your end. For that, it is necessary that you will install the Solid Edge software in your laptop or computer. For that, the links are also being shared. The procedure is also being shared, and within the Google Drive there is a folder in which there is a video which explains you step by step, and even PPT is being shared. So please go through all and install the Solid Edge software successfully, and please solve the problems on the sketchbook. Today's problems. So in Square Prism, we have 4 categories what I have solved, both in class as well as in the video links. Go through it and please solve it. It takes time for you people to solve initially. But as you practice, you can solve the problems on solids within 15 to 20 minutes. So you have to practice it. Kindly do it. Hopefully everyone have written your name and USN number in the chat room. If anyone have not written, kindly add it on. If any doubts, you're free to ask. Is it clear, all the 4 problems? Mohammed?
Yes, ma'am. It's clear, ma'am.
Yeah, so see that you complete, inform your friends. I think many have left now. Inform them, everyone, to submit. I'll put the due date by which you have to complete the problem on Square Prisms. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
And see that everyone install the software as per the procedure shared for you all in the Google Classroom. Fine.
Ma'am, but some people don't have computers and laptops with them, no, ma'am. What about those guys?
For them, okay, at least they can understand the concept how to solve, because I'll show step-by-step procedure in the Solid Edge how to do it. Those who have computers and the laptops, kindly solve the problems. Those who don't have, kindly ask them to share the genuine reason they don't have. I'll keep the record of those students who don't have it. For them, when they come to the college, extra preference will be given how to solve it in person. Remaining people, you please try to solve. Don't keep anything in pending, because we don't know how the scenario changes, how much time period we get in college in personal for you people to explain again. So don't waste the current available time. Use it positively to the best extent. Okay, so that will be in the safer zone when the college reopens. Because it happens within a short period of time, then we have to cover all problems on laboratory. That will be a mess for you as well as for us in explaining in a speed way. We cannot explain in relaxed way for every problem, as time will be less. So only I'm stressing you to practice at your end with respect to the Solid Edge part also. I will tell you the demo for each type of prism and the solid, at least one problem how to solve. Remaining thing you can practice at the leisure time. And those who don't have the laptops, care will be taken care for them. It is not like we won't take care. So at least those who have, please try to do it. That's my humble request. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, then. Please, everyone, take care. Have a nice day. We will see you on Tuesday class with the Solid Edge part. So before that, complete all the pending problems. Try to solve the problems in the sketchbook. 4 problems on Square Prism. Thank you then. Take care. Bye-bye.